Blackout. Blackout. We are live. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Sunday. Got another good show for you, man. Welcome into this edition of Blackout Sports, where we cover all things New York Knicks. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. That bell icon gives you notifications on when episodes drop like this. As well as, you already know what the deal is, man. This is a family show. Gonna play your comments up here. And if you ain't scared, I got a link for you too. So make sure you guys sound off in the comments. But let's go ahead and get into it, man, because interesting week from the New York Knicks. New York Knicks got 3 days off because they were the only team in the Eastern Conference to actually handle business. Yes. And get the Hawks out of here in 6 to advance to the second round. Second round matchup is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers. But before we get to that, we have to recap the Hawks series, man, because last time I do believe we came up here, the series was tied at 2-2. New York Knicks went ahead and took care of business. Straight dominant performance, including a Game 6 thrashing where the New York Knicks win basically by 50 points. Went on a legendary 65 to 11-point run after the Hawks had a 9-0 run in the fourth quarter. Totally ran away with that game. So who want to start out? I want to get you guys' opinion on the series. So who wants to start? Ken, Gino, whoever.
I'll jump out. So, I think the series, I'll say, didn't go as we expected, right? To start off. Ended exactly how we wanted it to and how we were expecting the series to go. So it was just a polarizing take, right? First 3 games, you could kind of almost look at it and just be like, all right, they got the hiccups out the way, and this should be the Knicks team we are watching for the rest of the way these playoffs, right? Ball movement, cat handling business, captain going off, unstoppable. Not many people guarding him. It is exactly what I was looking for. Physicality, defense, ball movement, OG stepping up, OG being that intangible that teams just don't know how to game plan around. That's what we were looking for. We didn't see it fully first 3 games. Last 3 games, that's all we needed. That's all we needed, which capped off a huge blowout win in Game 6. So my recap is there, man. It's just early hiccups. Round 1, nothing to worry about.
Definitely agree with that, Ken. Definitely agree with that wholeheartedly. I feel like the Knicks did all the adjustments I was hoping for, and the things I had called out, which was, this is why we hired Mike Brown. Which was, I remember I said they had to go deeper into the bench. They did. The Knicks were the only team, I think, in playoff history. Not only team, probably like in the last 20 or 40 years or something like that. You guys got to check the exact numbers, but to have every single player on the team score in the game and during the playoffs, like everyone scored. They had in the first half, they had double digits from all their starters. Like it was insanity. It was a beautiful game. I think we really have to reevaluate how the Knicks are approaching games now and realizing that these key adjustments can happen and suddenly we can run away with a series. You know, it's not us just sitting there going heavy for bad 3-pointers and stuff like that. We're not relying on bad ball movement, but we're actually like, hey, no, we're getting the ball into better positions. We're focusing on these mismatches. And more importantly, we're getting people into the flow of the game while they're scoring versus trying to get people into a position and set shot. We're getting fluid shots. We're getting shots that are presenting themselves within the game. And we're also getting these nice defensive transition to offense and consistently being able to score off it, which is a real key aspect of winning any championship. You have to be able to score consistently off your defensive possessions. You want all 5 of your players to feel when they play good defense, 2 points are coming out of it. They commit fully to that type of game.
Okay, excellent breakdown from my guy Gino. But Ken, let me flip this question to you because Gino did an excellent job breaking down the series, ball movement, shot creation, defense. All of that was showcased in the last three games of that Atlanta Hawks series. But I want to know, what were you the most impressed with when it comes to this New York Knicks team during the Atlanta Hawks series?
I would say what I was most impressed with is the offense, how it ran through Cat. It's the be having Cat be the focal point of the facilitating. How it would start up, even if it was the top of the key or the high block. Cat just being patient, not trying to force anything, and just letting the play develop, letting a man get loose, get open, finding the cutter, finding the open three, letting them work, right? Letting Cat work and letting Cat show off the IQ and the facilitating. I think that's what I was most impressed of those, especially those last three games. That was for me the biggest switch that we made.
Okay, Gino, you like you
I
did an
think
excellent job. But what were you most impressed with if you had to pick one thing?
if I had to pick one thing I was most impressed with, again, it would have to be the two-man game between the OG and Cat. I was begging for that, and they did exactly that, where they became this nice dynamic duo of you have to guard us on the pick and roll, you have to guard us on the pick and pop, you have to guard us on the pick and screen. That spacing we create is going to give us scoring. OG can now cut freely. OG can sit in the corner, fake a step, and suddenly defenders going biting on the cut. It's just to be able to score now commits that makes the defense have to commit to fakes. It's kind of like how GSP beat BJ Penn, where it's like, hey, I realized BJ Penn had some of the best reaction time, so I made him overreact. By the time we hit the second round, he was gassed, and that's what we saw in Game 6. They were cooked. The first 7 minutes, it was like, we're just scoring back and forth, and then suddenly, not the first 7 minutes. I think it was like the first five, and then after that, game just expanded.
Okay, okay, I agree with both points. I'm gonna actually give one guy credit. It's gonna be Mike Brown. The adjustments that he made in game three, in game four, five, and six, especially after game two and three, where it seems like it does kind of seem like Mike Brown was kind of like holding something back a little bit when it came to his offensive game plan, and maybe that's the reason why he got away from it in games two and three. But he immediately went back to having Karl Anthony Towns at the top of the key. Ken, your point was excellent when it came to what you felt was the most important. That's pretty much what's the most important to me, but I have to give the guy credit who implemented that game plan, which is going to be Mike Brown. I've been real critical of Mike Brown. I didn't understand why they got away from that game plan in game two and three and automatically adjusted to it. I liked him kind of limiting his rotations. Him playing Mikal Bridges with the second unit, I think, was pivotal because even though Mikal Bridges had a bad offensive series, except for game six, he went absolutely crazy, 10 for 12 from the floor. I do believe he had 24 to 28 points, something like that. The efficient Mikal Bridges that Josh Hart, when he got into it with Stephen A. Smith. When he was with
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith was criticizing Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart came to his defense and was like, yo, if we asked Mikal to shoot more, he would be more efficient, but that's not his role. That was Mikal Bridges' role in game six. And I'm saying all that to say he wasn't doing that the whole series. But the one thing that was consistent from Mikal was his defensive intensity. If you go back, you look at the numbers, especially when it comes to Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I don't think he eclipsed any game in that series when he had more than 20 points. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker was averaging more than 20 points during the season to become the most improved player in the NBA. And it was really Mikal who took that assignment to heart. Of course, OG got some of that, but it was mostly Mikal on him. And then when he played Mikal Bridges with the second unit, that defense seemed to carry over when those guys went to the bench and they really couldn't do anything with the New York Knicks. So that adjustment from Mike Brown, the Karl Anthony Towns, putting them to the top of the key, utilizing the offense and running the offense through him, as well as putting Mikal Bridges in that second unit to keep up that decent defensive intensity, I thought was my most impressive thing that I saw in the series. Any rebuttals? Anybody got anything to add on before we move on?
I do want to add on, like, I think the Knicks fan, as a Knicks fan, I want to talk to my other fans out there. Some of y'all were talking crazy about Mike Brown going into this series, saying like, "Yo, he's gonna be in Portland next year coaching if he can't win Game 2, if he can't win Game 3. It was over for the next season. This is the problem we had with Thibodeau. We're not making the jump." And it's like, yo, this guy knows how to play. He knows how to coach. He knows how to coach the players. We see the adjustments. We see the build. And I said before, like I was talking about with Randall, we got to let the culture build. We can't just constantly try and, hey, we're going to win the chip now. We got to win the chip now. We got to sweep our way to the series. Like just sweeping a playoff series is hard. Winning in 6 is hard. Winning in 7 is hard. Winning it in 4 is hard. That's why so many teams go 3-1 or 3-0, and then they're struggling for those last bit of games because it's not – the pressure is different. The pressure is different. We got to give Mike Brown his credit for doing a great job. Great job. He had a team already built. It wasn't like he just came into something and built it from scratch. The team was already built. Everybody's gelling together. He's pushing everyone into believing into each other. We got to do the same as fans.
Yeah, and the thing that I forgot what I was going to say. Ken, your point about the playoffs being difficult. We're seeing that all through the East. Like the Celtics blow a 3-1 lead. The Orlando Magic unable to close out the Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons now have advanced. This Eastern Conference has been the Cavs have a Game 7 tonight with the Toronto Raptors, who are hampered, and there's still a Game 7 in between those teams to determine who's going to be going to the semifinals. So great point by Gino about the playoffs being hard and to kind of give it time, let things unfold. But Ken, let me go to you on this question though. We talked about the great things that we saw, what we were most impressed with. So on the contrary to that, is there anything that you've seen from the New York Knicks in that series that has you still a little bit concerned about this team's possibility of winning a championship this year?
It's the bad habits. I think that the team has relied sometimes on bad nights instead of digging in and just attempting to find a groove out of the role players, throwing it all on the cap, on his shoulders, and then resorting to that ISO heavy, offense. It'll pull a one game. It can't pull a series, right? So if we're not committed to the offense Mike Brown has instilled and really moving the ball and really making those cuts and playing hard defense, right? And we just fall into that, Cap got us. It's going to be a long series. Don't matter who we face, right? Don't matter who it is. That's the bad habits we can't go into, which was Game 2, Game 3, right? Right at the end, the last stretch, right? It was all on Cap's shoulders. Lapsed defensive assignments because guys probably checked out mentally. They couldn't hit shots, so then they're checked out defensively, missed cues. You got people hitting game winners, right? Like, or going up on us last couple seconds. We can't have that. That can't continue past this round. That hopefully we got cleaned up. Hopefully we don't see it rise up again. But they're human, right? There might be one game we drop because of it. That's my concern.
Okay, Gino?
I kind of disagree. I don't think the Knicks have bad habits right now. I think what's going on is that we're facing good teams. And we're facing good teams who are meant to be at this stage. It's always you play the competition in front of you. And I'll be real, I wanted us to play the Celtics. I thought we were composed to beat the Celtics and beat them without getting injured. Now I'm more concerned about our health going into beating the 76ers, because I think we could beat the 76ers. That's not a question. My concern is, are we going to be healthy when we beat the 76ers going into the Eastern Conference Finals? So that's my big concern.
Okay, Ken, before you retort, I know you want to. Let's give a shout out to the chat real quick. Shout out to my guy Los. Says soon as Mike Brown made the Josh Hart adjustment, the series took a turn. CJ was non-existent after that. Salute to our guy Los. Joshua Mitchell 4343. Yeah, what's good, my boy? Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. He said you sound scared, B. Uh-oh. Hey,
hold on.
Not you. I don't think that comment is towards you. You had a positive outlook. Ken, Gino said he
Listen,
disagrees with your point. Go
eh,
ahead and give your retort, and then I'll address my concerns. Go ahead, Ken. The floor is
so
yours.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I think that Gino gives a little bit too much credit to these playoff teams, right? Uh, Sixers, they should. They no, I mean the Hawks. They were practically a playing team almost. Like we shouldn't have dropped 2 games in the last seconds to them. 1 game, if that, no more than that. That's what I call bad habits, right? We came in and fumbled 2 games at the end the same way back to back. To me, that's bad habits. Not facing a tough team, right? Like miscues, defensive assignments lapsed. Even one of the games, if you go back, I think it's game 2, game 3, on the inbound to CJ McCollum for the last second shot to go up. You got Josh Hart barely defending the inbound pass, and that's just off the top of my memory, right? Like that's a lapse in defensive assignment, right? How is the inbound being delivered into the guy they wanted to get to so easily on a roll and shoot, right? Like that's not tough. That's not a tough team. Right, we're losing to. It wasn't like any crazy screens. He just rolled free and with a straight pass to him, shot the shot. That's a lapse in assignment. That's a bad habit, bad bad defensive adjustment there. But we can't have those. We can't have little things like that because those will cost us games, right?
Nah.
As we
All right.
saw, game 2, game 3.
Okay. All right. I'm just gonna say this, and this is the perfect quote for this. You know, what I mean, everyone, and this is Shaq. Not even quote. We're gonna paraphrase Shaq here. They said Shaq was getting asked about refs giving away the game against the Kings, where it was like, hey, the Kings missed all those free throws. It wasn't just the refs. You can't blame the refs when you miss your shots. You gotta be there for the game. So to say it's just, oh well, they were just late. It's like, nah, I don't think it was bad habits. We had a team that made adjustments and was prepared for the Knicks for 2 games. The Knicks then made their adjustments, and the Hawks couldn't make adjustments. This is a part of the playoff basketball. And it's, again, I'm not going to discredit the Hawks because they made it and they seeded well. They weren't a playing team. They were above a playing team. So again, they played well. They had a young core that developed well, and they just met the buzzsaw that was the Knicks, and they got cut as the Knicks just go into a groove.
I can see both points. Let me jump in here. I can see both points. I can see what Ken means about bad habits, but in my opinion, like every team kind of has those like mishaps during the
Mm-hmm.
course of a playoff series. That's why it takes 4 games in the playoffs to kind
One
of
hundred
win and
percent.
advance to the series. So I get you, but to further your point when it comes to the Knicks' bad habits, I think the biggest bad habit that the New York Knicks have, that now they've corrected, that has to be consistent going into the next series. But I think the biggest bad habit that the New York Knicks have is relying too much on Jalen Brunson. Like that's the only thing that I'm concerned about when it comes to the next series. Now, when we get into it, we'll go over what Jalen Brunson's stats are against the Philadelphia 76ers. So I don't expect him to have a duplicate series that he had with the Atlanta Hawks. Jalen Brunson is going to be a lot better, but we see what this team looks like. We see what this team looks like when they're utilizing Carl Anthony Towns as the base of that offense. When that, even though if you want to switch the game plan, the New York Knicks have 2 ways to dominate offensively, and I think that's the most thing I'm impressed with when it comes to that series. Now, to Gino's point, the Hawks ain't no slouch. Like I think Ken, when you kind of like Gino, I kind of side a little bit more with Gino on that because I don't want to take away anything from the New York Knicks with their dominating performance in the 3 games. Like it's not like the Atlanta Hawks weren't a playing team. They were the 6th seed. People were clamoring that the Atlanta Hawks were higher than a 6th seed, and they were just like that wasn't their real ranking. That's just how they ended up in seeding. But as far as the talent and the expectations and the momentum the Atlanta Hawks had going into the playoffs, they were viewed as more than a 6th seed, which led a lot of analysts to believe that the New York Knicks were going to have trouble in this series. So I do get both points there. I do get both points. Anybody got a retort before we move on? A quick minute for each of y'all, just to get your final thoughts in before we move on to the next series.
No, I was gonna say I'll finish off with this on that point. Did they project and have momentum as a better than playing team? Yes, but they were one game away. They would have just dropped 1 or 2 games. They would play in team. So let's so just be for real here, right? Like I even took a quick moment to look at the standings. Like I'm not too far off. I was pretty sure they were only a game from being a playing team. So that they had momentum after the trade, and after the trade deadline, after the All Star break, they were rolling. Yes, right. Once again, when push came to shove, they reverted back to a young team that is a playing team, right? They got faced with a seasoned team that's been together, seen adversity the last 2 playoffs, right? And that's all it was, right? It's not trying to discredit them. They ain't there yet. They young and they got building blocks, right? But there's levels to this. And once you got humbled and reverted back to what you truly are, a playing team.
Yep. Gino, go ahead, close us out before we move on.
I just think, honestly, if we're gonna call it what it is, I think the Atlanta Hawks just really got outcoached. They had those games 2 and 3. Again, I'll constantly say this: it's the team that was Atlanta Hawks playing their best game, and the Knicks playing at the same time some of their worst basketball. And it was because of how good the Hawks defense was, how good they were forcing them off their good shots, forcing them out of their normal rhythm. And it was the game 4 coaching shift where suddenly it's like, now we got a different team now. Hey, we're playing a real good team now. We got to stop messing around with these guys. We can't finish the food. Finish this. And that's kind of what I was saying, where it's like the coaching shifted so dramatically for the Knicks, where it was like every time the Hawks went to make an adjustment, they were already switching already, okay, we see what's going on. We see what's going on. And I want to counter with like the Boston Celtics starting lineup, where they brought out a whole team of players. That's where the coach is like, hey, I don't know I'm just throwing whatever sticks at this point. If the Hawks were doing something like that, I would say yeah, but they weren't. They were playing tested and true team that actually worked together. They knew how to play.
Yep, knew how to play and got the Hawks out of here in 6. Like your boy predicted, moving on to the second round, soft reset. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to our sponsor, CapCut, the #1 video making app on the planet. Is super easy to use. Make sure you guys check them out. If you're a content creator, no reason why you shouldn't have it. Couple more comments. Lucas Eureka. We Philly all home games. I'm not really too sure what that means. The Hawks top 10 in defense. Ken, check that real quick for me. Is Philly a top 10 defense? Chen, check that as well. Salute to you, Lucas, for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Joshua Mitchell says Philly just beat a dud Celtics. That's all. Neither are ready for the Knicks. Pistons is the only comp this season in the East. Interesting. Giving Detroit credit, even though Detroit just went 7 games with a play-in team. Okay, Joshua, we see you. Go ahead, Ken.
I was gonna say 1 second. We're grabbing the stats right now and looking at it. And no, the Hawks were ranked 18th defensively against opponents. So not a top 10 defense. Maybe their stats in the second
the defensive
half,
rating
right
at the second half of the season was up there.
Yeah, it was
the second half. Overall, right, for the season, nah. But second half.
Second half is when the trade happened. That's when that team was the team.
and I hear you, but once again, I'll believe in that defense more when they get a full training camp, full season together, right?
Valid point.
Because that's a lot of those kinks and wrinkles that they ran into and mistakes they made late in the series. They'll probably fix it up for next season. But
okay. Lowe says Game 6 the Knicks played like they knew they knew wasn't nobody in the East that can beat them. They got to keep that up. Salute. Very, very true. But moving on, got to talk about the next series, man, because I wanted to play the Boston Celtics. I ain't gonna say Ken. You know I've been seeing the weakness in the Boston Celtics all year long, I've been going back and forth with the media about their love fest for the Boston Celtics, including Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright, saying that the Boston Celtics are the favorites in the East and the West. It was the Celtics love was absolutely ridiculous. The Philadelphia 76ers got them out of here, and that is actually going to be the team the New York Knicks face in the second round. Questions around if Joel Embiid is fully healthy. In my opinion, he looked to get really banged up in that game 7. It was a lot of moments where somebody fell on his knee. They had to stretch out his side. I guess he was having cramps because of his appendix surgery. Joel Embiid just looked like he went through absolute hell to get through that series, and we only played 3 games in the series, but to finish that series and close the Boston Celtics out. VJ Edgecombe was an absolute monster in game 7. We're starting to see a resurgence in Paul George. Tyrese Maxey looks absolutely unstoppable. So, I want to get you guys' prediction when it comes to the next series, and let's go ahead and let's save the predictions. Let's jump to who's the most impactful player in this series. Gino, who started off last time? I do believe it was Ken, right? All right, so Gino, we'll go to you first. Who is your most impactful player for the New York Knicks against the Philadelphia 76ers in the Eastern Conference semifinals?
Honestly, I think from watching it's gonna have to be Mitch Robinson, because I think Mitch Robinson is gonna be playing a lot more valuable minutes, and Cat's goal this series is going to be a lot different going in, especially with the success we had against the Hawks and him in a different role in the offensive scheme. So we're going to have to understand Cat's going to be taking a lot more defensive anchoring. Cat's going to have to be playing more valuable minutes at key moments as well. And we may not get them both on the floor at the same time because it might not be fluid for the team when we're playing against an established big like that. We didn't have that in Atlanta. We have that now. So, and then, of course, Mitch last year got taken out by Joel Embiid. If that didn't happen, that's a ring for us.
Yeah, 2024. 2024.
Yeah, 2024. Yeah, that didn't happen. That's a ring for us.
Yeah, I agree.
So flat out. Like it's tough to face that, and that's not the first player Joel's injured when he's going down and the series is out. I'm surprised he didn't do it to the Sixers. I was kind of not the Sixers, to the Celtics. I was kind of hoping, he might get himself just banned from the league doing it this third time, like this one more time. Like, oh, yo, you haven't played enough. You spent more time in it. But anyway, this is not about bad mouth and Embiid.
No, the slander is very well welcome. It was some dirty play from him in Game 7 too. Like,
yeah, it's like I'm gonna be real. If I'm the Knicks, the way I'm playing against these guys is I know Joel Embiid's left leg is hurt. I'm running hard picks on the left side. I'm making him fight over every screen. Every time he goes to box out, I'm making sure I'm pushing hard on the left side of his hip and leg. I'm making that knee fucking inflamed. Then I have to drain his knees every fucking game, ice him the fuck out. I want it done. I want it done because it's like we know he's hurt. We can't injure him, but we can force the pressure where it's like, yo, you're gonna be sore. You're not gonna be able to do the defensive steps. You're not gonna be able to take those shots. You might hit good shots in the first quarter, but you'll be done by fourth quarter. You'll do that for game 1. You won't do that for game 3. Game 3, you're going to be playing restricted minutes. Get him the fuck out of there. Playoff Paul George does not exist. We all know who playoff P is. Playoff P is not a threat. The only person we have to worry about is Embiid. We get Embiid out of there. That's a very easily beaten 76ers team. We need Mitch Robinson to be there to do that. We need Cat there to do that, but we need Mitch for the most part. Not to say that we don't need Cat. It's that Mitch is the deciding factor for this series for us, whether we like it or not.
Okay. very impassioned
Animated.
take.
I fucks with Mitch Robinson. That shit pissed me off, bro.
But Gino, yeah, I mean, Gino, check the chat real quick. Ken, Ken, your most impactful player for the New York Knicks going into the series with the 76ers, man. Family show, though.
I'm going to level it out. You know, our boy, for me, Gino did mention who my most impactful player coming into the series is going to be my bodega cat. My bad. Cat. I think that Cat is going to see, you know, where we saw a lot more facilitating, we're going to see a little more balance, right? Like he's not going to hit those triple doubles, but he'll be high in assists and his points are going to be up there. I don't think, I think when you try and match up the Tobias Harris's, the injured and beat on them, we're going to take advantage of the weak, of those weak players, right? And let Cat work. And we already know. I know we're gonna get to the stats for Brunson, and once the people hear the stats Brunson's been putting up on the Sixers every single time we play them, they're gonna be like, okay, Cap is gonna cook as well. So for me, starts with Cat and whatever he does and how he impacts the game. This is gonna make it easy for JB all the way through to finish this team off.
Okay, I like the bigs. Using the bigs is definitely going to be it, especially with the matchup with Joel and B. You still got to kind of throw in Andre Drummond. They have Andre Drummond coming off of the bench. So it is kind of like a similar type of front court. In between the Knicks and the 76ers, you have Joel Embiid, he's more dominant in the post of Karl Anthony Towns, but can play on the post, can stretch the floor with his shooting as well. And then you have a rim running rim protector and Andre Drummond coming off of the bench. So I definitely like the comparison with the bigs and them being, you know, the most impactful players. But for me, it's clearly OG Anunoby, man. Like, the Knicks have a crazy record when it comes to OG Anunoby scoring more than 25 points. They're damn near undefeated when OG scores 25 to 30 points. Here's the reason why, though. I think OG Anunoby is going to be the most impactful player. It's not only going to be because of his offense, right? It's clear, in my opinion, that OG Anunoby has solidified that he's the third best scorer on this New York Knicks team. While Mikal Bridges can't do that, OG Anunoby's role has made him the more consistent threat as the third option. And OG Anunoby was absolutely spectacular in the series against the Atlanta Hawks. But it's more so because of what I've seen from OG Anunoby defensively against the Philadelphia 76ers. And I want to direct everybody, even though it's regular season, game plans change, all of that. But the last time that the New York Knicks played the Philadelphia 76ers, the Sixers had the lead going into the fourth quarter, but it was OG Anunoby. Mikal Bridges was having issues guarding Tyrese Maxey. It was actually OG Anunoby that switched on to that matchup that got him to slow down. And then at the end of the fourth quarter, when I do believe Karl Anthony Towns was in foul trouble, Mitchell Robinson was in foul trouble, OG Anunoby, which we've seen in that 2024 series as well defensively, OG Anunoby switching on to Joel Embiid and being able to contain Joel Embiid as well after he had a 25-point first half in that game. OG Anunoby completely shut him down for the final 5 minutes of that game. It's the reason why I feel like OG Anunoby should be the most impactful player for the New York Knicks, because he's an all-NBA first-team defensive player, no questions asked. But his versatility to be able to go from guarding a speedy guy like Tyrese Maxey and then switching to playing the five if the New York Knicks need him to do that is kind of the reason why I think the Knicks shouldn't have too many issues with the Philadelphia 76ers. Gino, I see you shaking your head. We'll go to you. What is your response to that?
I disagree with that take. I think, especially that last part you said about as far as versatility, that's where Mitch Robinson is. That's our factor from him. He can rotate. He can, in a half court set, control the defensive scheme and put pressure on every single player, making it where every time they get the ball, they have a 7-footer with his hand up in their face so they can't take that quick shot. And I think that's something he's shown repeatedly and been able to do that for. He's on the court for 9 minutes and he's doing that for 7 minutes nonstop.
I just my response. I don't want to disagree with you. I do fully recognize Mitchell Robinson's impact when it comes to the team, especially coming off of the bench. I've constantly said that Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench is an equivalent to an atomic bomb for the other team. So I do definitely agree that Mitchell Robinson has that level of impact. The reason why Mitchell Robinson isn't my choice is because it's going to be OG Anunoby who's strapping up to play for 35 minutes in the game. So him just simply playing more minutes, and while Mitchell Robinson does have defensive versatility, he can guard the perimeter. On some possessions, you really don't want Mitchell Robinson out there for most of them. That's not, you don't really want Mitchell Robinson, even though he can do it on a pick and roll if he needs to switch and guard a guard. You don't want Mitchell Robinson guarding Tyrese Maxey for 15 plus minutes as his main defensive matchup, which is why I feel that OG Anunoby, I'm not saying that he'll be more impactful for the New York Knicks, but I do believe that him playing more minutes and him having that defensive versatility where he can give you extended minutes in any matchup that you present his way is why I feel like he'll be the most impactful player in the series. Ken, do you have any retort before we go back to Gino? I'm sure Gino might have like a counter. I would love to hear Gino's counter on that. Well, no, for real. I'm not like, I don't mean that in a bad way, Gino, or anything like that. Like, I really want to hear your opinion on the counter. But Ken, do you have anything to say before I get back to Gino?
I don't actually want to say. I guess I see it from both angles. I do see that truly these players, all the players we named, all can be extremely impactful. It's a team effort, right? I think that Mitch is gonna have to ball some of his best basketball when he comes off that bench, right? And provide those solid minutes defensively. Just like OG, those 30 to 35 minutes he's gonna be playing, he's gonna have to be the OG we know him to be, right? And Cat as the second option can't falter, right? So I definitely see it from both your eyes, especially when it comes to that defensive assignments. I agree with you. We don't want to see Mitch on a guard for 15 minutes, right? But can he occasionally, when he gets caught up in that and pick and roll, we know he can.
Yes,
We
for
know
sure.
he could hold his own,
For
right?
sure.
But also, we've also seen people attempt to hack a Mitch, right? So I also know the things that come along with how great Mitch is defensively on the boards, and sometimes when we use him in the pick and roll, what the bad things that come with it, right? Like when he's not hitting the free throw tonight, he's not hitting it, right? So I see it from all angles. I definitely got you guys got some good points. I'll let Gino enter the chat.
Cook food,
Okay.
Gino.
So I'm gonna say this, and this is. I'm glad you brought that Hacker Mitch up because I feel like you reading my mind, Ken. Read my mind right now. Because it's gonna be. I was gonna say like you brought up Andre. What's gonna happen when Andre has this first quarter, 3 minutes? He has two fouls because they're doing a hack Mitch. You got your backup forward, right, getting a foul. You're getting somebody just getting BS fouls that you need them later on in the game when it's like, hey, you're on your third foul going into the second quarter. We kind of got to pull you out the game. We got to put somebody in because you get another foul, you're on four. It's not even about foul trouble now. It's not as far as for team fouls. It's about individual now. Now you got to be a little bit more reserved on defense. Now you got to move your feet more and your hands less, which means you're just hands up on the plays the whole time. You're not really contesting shots. You're afraid to actually push off defenders. Mitch getting the team in foul trouble in 9 minutes, I can deal with that. Right? And we're talking like just smart basketball here, where it's like, hey, look, Mitch comes on the court and he can stop a run and get everybody moving on defense where you can just get transition scores. That's great. So I think, again, I don't want to make it seem like OG isn't a key factor, right? But it's those minutes when he comes in there for it, he changes everything.
Yeah, and to your point about Mitch, like Mike Brown actually had a comment before the playoffs even began that if a team wants to do hack a Mitch, let them. They'll roll with it, see if Mitch Robinson hits his free throws, and then they'll re-examine that situation from there. So that's actually a great point from Gino, a couple comments before we get into our X factors. Lucas says OG holds everybody just like Mitchie. So he basically agrees with both me and your points, Gino. So salute to Lucas for that. The Nerd Corner, TNC, a ghost. Nick Nurse is a smarter coach. He might not go to that Hackett strategy. I guarantee you, though. I guarantee you.
At least one quarter.
If Mitch enters the game and he's causing absolute mayhem, I know he will. Because here's the thing about Mitch, and Gino, this is why I'm not like totally dismissive of your most impactful point. Both centers have beef with Joel Embiid, both of them. You have Karl-Anthony Towns with the fight that they had while they were in Minnesota in their Twitter war, with them throwing a B word at each other both times, between each other. So there's smoke there. They finally meet in the playoffs against each other. There's going to be static there. And Joel Embiid in 2024 basically ruining Mitchell Robinson's playoffs in 2024 and a lot of his 2025 season as well. That ankle just wasn't right for the next couple of seasons when it comes to Mitch. He was a lot healthier this year, but that moment in time in that series definitely derailed Mitchell Robinson. So I totally hear you, Gino. Like, I'm not disagreeing at all. Right. Mitchell Robinson's impact on this series, I do believe, is going to be major just because of the attitude he's going to have and this motivation to shut Joel Embiid down. Because if it's one person that I've seen Joel Embiid have the most issues with guarding him, it's Mitchell Robinson. It's him. So go ahead, Gino. Go ahead.
As someone who grew up around Africans, loved Africans, I got Africans in my family. Bro, Joel Embiid pissed me off like a cousin, bro. He pissed me off something different. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was like, yo, stop laying down. Yo, you whining. You complaining way too much. You're not, bro, I don't need to hear you not doing good for an extended period. Why you got to take other people down when you're going down? Right? He reminds me of all the bad things I don't like about people while also being really good at basketball. Right? Because I'm not going to take it away from him on the court. On the court, he's a phenomenal player. And when he's healthy, one of the most dangerous players on court. Also, at the same time, when the team is losing, he's also one of the most dangerous players on the court for anybody who's running the 4 or the 5 position because he's going to hurt you. He's going out of his way to fall weird on you. He's going out of his way to step awkwardly and do this dramatic fall like as if he's playing FIFA or something. And it's like, yo, bro.
The crazy thing about
get that Euro nonsense out of here. We don't need you flopping. And then when you flop, you hurt people.
Yeah, Embiid got instant karma last night, though. Like he had that I think he almost had a flagrant foul on. I don't think it was VJ Edgecombe who drove to the hole, and then he pushed him way after the foul or something like that. I think he got a technical for it. Like the next 3 plays, his own teammates were falling into his knees. So instant karma for Joel Embiid, which is why he may not be healthy for the series. Ken, you have anything before we move on to X Factors?
No. I think I'm ready. I'm ready to move on.
All right, so since you're ready to move on, we'll go ahead and start with you. We talked about the most impactful player, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's see if you guys did your homework now. Who is going to be your X factor in this series for the New York Knicks?
For me, the X factor is going to be Mikal Bridges. It's what does he bring, right? From the defensive standpoint, and if he's going to add a little bit of scoring. Like that's going to be a huge X factor for us because we've seen him, right? Like come up silent offensively, but still hustling, right? But still sometimes not get it done. It's him, how he's going to be defending some of those guys out there, right? He's gonna draw sometimes that matchup with Maxey, sometimes that matchup with VJ, right? Even PG. Like you're gonna see him being floated around until we figure out where he's gonna land defensively and who's the matchup he's gonna be taking on the most. For me, it's Bridges. What's how he's gonna show up this series? That's gonna matter the most.
Okay, I like the Mikal Bridges point. I like, especially after seeing what he did in Game 6. I am wondering if he's going to be able to continue that level of aggression, catching alley oops and everything, going to the hole. That's not something that we've seen from Mikal Bridges over the course of the season. Seems like that benching in game 4 or game 3, excuse me, really resonated with Mikal Bridges to get himself in gear to be a little bit more aggressive for this New York Knicks team. Gino, my guy.
I think it's going to be
your X factor.
Josh Hart. And it's the not on the court stuff, right? We're not talking about on the court. I'm talking about like just that veteran leader, veteran teammate, where it's like, hey, look, you're out the game. Let's bring your mentality, let's focus back in. And he has a lot of that, where it's like, this is something from the military. It's the hard skills, soft skills. He has a lot of the soft skills where he's able to just build players up, get them engaged in the game, get them fully committed back to their role. Hey, you're having a bad game. So what? It's not about this game, or it's about this play. Have a good play. Then you'll have a next good play. And then you will slowly transition that from a play to a quarter to a half to a game. And I feel that Josh Hart brings a lot of that, right? And just off the court presence. And I think that right there is going to be that deciding X factor, where it's like, hey, we're going a little bit deeper into the playoffs. How more aggressive can we be?
I also have Josh Hart. Actually, I have 2 of them, and I'm pretty sure I might cause a ruckus with my next one. Ken, you probably already know where I'm going, but Gino, you stay right there. I want to see your reaction. Josh Hart is going to be the X factor to me. And it's off the court. Gino, excellent point about who Josh Hart is off the court for the New York Knicks. I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for his leadership. If Knicks fans, if you guys have watched the Roommates pod, you've watched how old teammates of Josh Hart, how they talk about Josh Hart and his mentality. This is why I got into it with Stephen A. Smith. Like, I had so much issues with how Stephen A. Smith talked to Josh Hart when he came to the defense of Mikal Bridges. Because if you've heard enough about Josh Hart, you know that he's the one guy in that locker room that's going to hold the rest of the team accountable from a player's standpoint. Josh Hart isn't the type of guy to let BS slide. He's not going to let you miss out on your assignments. Josh Hart, no pun intended, but pun intended, is the heart of the New York Knicks. So great point off the floor. Definitely agree. But as on the floor, if Josh Hart is hitting his shot consistently, Ken, your point about putting Joel Embiid in pick and rolls, I think will open up the offense if Josh Hart is the one initiating that. Because you see what defenses like to do with Josh Hart. They like to put the center on Josh Hart. That may be where Joel Embiid might be, is trying to guard Josh Hart in that matchup, because teams don't necessarily believe that Josh Hart can make those threes on a consistent level. So if you put Josh Hart in the pick and roll, we have already seen how he is going downhill. If Joel Embiid doesn't necessarily have that speed, it will open up the flow of not only Josh Hart's offense, but the rest of that team, as well as wearing down Joel Embiid over the course of the series. So I definitely agree that Josh Hart is my main X factor. My second X factor, though, is Landry Shamet. Bad series from Landry Shamet last series. But when we talk about the second unit, and we talk about three-point shooting, and the Knicks probably searching for scoring, if Jalen Brunson's having an issue, I don't think he will. If Karl-Anthony Towns is having an issue, if Miles McBride's shot isn't falling, I believe Jordan Clarkson's going to get his buckets. I definitely believe that. But I don't believe we're going to see the Landry Shamet this series that we saw last series. When Landry Shamet is active and giving you 3 threes a game, as well as playing great defense, this New York Knicks team's bench, the ceiling for that bench jumps up dramatically when Landry Shamet is able to hit his shots. So as far as the starters, X factor, I got Josh Hart, definitely agree with Gino. But as far as on the bench, who I think should play a big role in this series, is going to be Landry Shamet. Gino.
I don't disagree with that take. I mean, I just don't think I think he's gonna be a factor of like maybe 7 points a game.
Yeah, I don't want him to do too much. Like I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not
Okay. So,
expecting. I'm not
okay.
expecting. Yeah,
All right. I
I'm
thought
not.
you were talking like a
No,
12,
no, no,
12
no, no, no,
points
no,
a
no,
game.
no,
Like that's
no,
not
no, no, no.
happening.
I mean, he is capable, but I don't
He's
expect
not
that.
able. He's capable, but he's not able. I think there's a
I
big
I
difference. I think
I definitely disagree that he's not able. I definitely disagree there. When there was times this season where OG Anunoby was out or Josh Hart was out,
Mhm.
and they inserted Landry Shamet in the starting lineup, and he's giving you 15 to 25 points with 6 threes. That's not what I'm expecting from Landry Shamet, though. If he could just give them 6, 8 points a game, hey, that's excellent. He gave them nothing in the Atlanta series. Absolutely nothing. So if you add those 8 points from Landy Shamet, you give him 10, 12, 15 minutes, possibly, depending on if he's hot or how he's playing that game. I definitely believe that he is able to give you 12 points. Now, I don't think it's going to be a consistent thing. I'm not saying Landry Shamet is going to average 12 points in the series. I'm not saying that. So I agree with you there. The only point I disagree with is that he's not able to do it. He's capable and he's able to do it. It's just going to, you know what I'm saying? It's just going to depend on how much Mike Brown plays him. Does Mike Brown trust him? You know what I'm saying? To play him 15 minutes at this point because of what he got out of his bench the last series? Is he going to stick to that rotation with Alvarado, Clarkson, Deuce McBride, and pretty much the rest of the starters are going to fill that out? He's only been playing like a 7-8 man rotation, and Mitch, of course. But if Landry Shamet is able to get some minutes and he's able to knock down just a couple of threes, oh, this is over in 5. It's over in 5, in my opinion.
So,
Ken?
so I actually wanted to point something out. I want to say we got a beautiful problem on our hand, right? When we talk about these X factors, because right, like you named the Josh Harts, the Bridges, the Shamets, the fact that we're not even mentioning Deuce, right? Like we have a beautiful problem because we got a bench that we are playing and we are tapping into. And at any point in time, one of those guys can be an X factor on a night, right? Because let's not forget, Deuce can come out and play defense and hit big threes when we need it, right? So we got X factors aplenty, and that is a beautiful problem to have.
I just want to say, if Deuce is our X factor, we're losing the game.
Listen,
I'm fully bought in on Deuce McBride. I
listen,
love him. I love him as a player. But
love.
if he's our deciding bench player, we have a fucking problem that game.
Listen, I don't
I
think
have yet to see him
he's
have a game where he's hitting, like let's say he's going like 7 for 9 or some shit like that, or like a high clip,
so
right? Where he's a command and he's locking down and we're winning the game. I haven't seen it.
So Gino, I'm gonna contest that thought in the sense that we gotta also remember Deuce missed a ton of games. A ton of games between injuries, personal reasons. Like this dude did not play a full season. Then came back and just instantly off of just trust of what he did like the first 15 or 18 games, got reinserted back into the rotation, right? Like and just thrown out there, right? So I don't think he's gotten his bearings down. I think we will see a more of an impact out of Deuce in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And in the finals. I think Deuce, as we keep rolling, he gets more minutes and he gets more of that trust and more acclimated with the team because this team, most of the team has played at least 50 to 60 games together, right? Deuce doesn't have that high clip with them.
My contention with Deuce isn't just from the season. That's what I'm saying. It's not just the season.
I get it. No, listen,
and this is as somebody who, again, I like Deuce. I think he's a great player. I just know his limited role, and I hope he fills his limited role. I'm just saying, I'm like, just to echo your point, I'm glad he's not our X factor. I'm glad he's not the guy that we're relying on because I've seen the games where we have to rely on Deuce. Oh, we're already losing. We're just telling him like, hey, just go out there, have a good game. Go have fun.
And I hear you because we all know Deuce is not the strongest dribbler, right? Right? He's not. Not the strongest ball handler. So we know that. We know he's not that, but he brings the hustle. He is an energetic defender, and he's a streaky shooter. If he's hot, he's hot. Like he has no problem in transition pulling the three and hitting it, right? But when he's cold, just like you said, right? So we know what we get from Deuce, right? We know it. But I'm also not gonna just be like, yo, he's not a spark plug off the bench. I can't also say he's not, right? I have to take it at face value what it is. If we're dependent on him to run the offense while JB's out, turnover is gonna happen, right? Which is why we don't need that, right? He can come in while Cap sits if we're running the offense through Towns, right? Like because now we're not asking Bride
to make all the IQ. You got to know IQ plays. Just get to your spot.
But exactly, get to your spot and feel confident in your shot. And if he's hitting them, go defend, right? Go be a pest on defense. But that's what I mean. We got our guys that know their roles and they can be a factor in those roles.
I just want to reiterate. I don't dislike this Deuce as a player. I like him as a player. I just don't. I want to make sure it's clear because I don't want to come off like, again, I'm shitting on these guys as they're doing their job. It's very much like, well, sorry. I just don't want to come off as like I'm making fun of these guys as they're doing their job. I want to be very clear. Like Deuce's role on the team needs to be limited in order for other people to flourish. He's a streaky volume shooter, not just a streaky shooter. And that's a problem in itself. Being a streaky shooter is a problem. Being a volume shooter is a problem. Because when you have a bad night, you're not just going to have a bad night. You're going to have a momentously bad night. And if you're a streaky shooter, we're getting J.R. Smith. Right? And when you have a streaky shooter who has great defensive IQ, bad offensive IQ, we get J.R. Smith.
Yep.
And now we just have a less athletic as far as height-wise and gifted athletics, more skilled player, but still J.R. Smith.
All right. At first, Gino, I was with you. At first, I was with you because Deuce McBride didn't have the greatest series against the Hawks either. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't been great, and I don't think it's due to any fault of his own. He missed damn near half of the season. They brought him back a week and a half before the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? He had like, what was it, a sports hernia or something like that. He kind of seemed like he tweaked it in not the Memphis game, but the Rockets game for whatever reason. They decided to bring him back against a physical team like the Rockets. He hasn't necessarily been consistent in his shot. The ball handling skills terrify me when it comes to Deuce. Like them trying to make Deuce McBride initiate the offense, which is why I'm bringing up a guy like Landry Shamet. He's not great at it either, but at least he can dribble the ball without giving it to the other team, getting around picks and stuff like that. You still don't want Landry Shamet to initiate the offense, but I think Landry Shamet is a better ball handler than Deuce McBride as a whole. But quick research while you guys were, having your debate. All right. 2024.
Yep.
Deuce McBride. All right. 11 points, average. 43% from the floor. 41% from three. So if that's the Deuce McBride that we're going to get, who had the same limitations, maybe worse.
How many turnovers
in 2024? How many I will find out for you how many turnovers he had. This is.
I think that's one of the key stats we got to talk about. Saying you're making 11 points, but you're giving up 8 is a big difference.
Turnovers. Let me see if I can find him. He averages 3 turnovers a game. So there's that. But he does give you. He did average 4 steals a game. No, that's not an average. He had 4 steals, 11 assists, 14 rebounds in the course of that series. He had 3 total turnovers though, and he's a plus 11.
Oh, for the series.
3 total turnovers against the 76ers in that 2024 series. So if we're concerned about him giving the ball over, that may be something that he might not do. Now, this is a totally different 76ers team. They have VJ Edgecombe now. They have Paul George. Paul George, was he there in 2024? No, right? He only played with them for 1 season?
Yeah.
Like he got there last year, right?
Last year, yeah.
He was with the Clippers. All right, so you still have Paul George, even though I think Deuce McBride could still get a shot off against Paul George. That's a bad shot, Paul George. So you know how he feels about guarding the 3. But does that give you any confidence Gino, knowing his stats from the Philadelphia 76ers to kind of feel a little bit more comfortable about Deuce McBride in this
No,
series?
no, I don't. Again, I don't feel like Deuce McBride is going to be the guy who's going to decide the game for us.
Definitely not.
Right.
I don't
And
believe so either.
if I'm looking at, Deuce Smith's 4 shots, that's the reason why we lost the game, then all my starting 5 need to be running perfect. Just to be honest, right? I'm not going to say Deuce. I'm not going to say Deuce cost us a game. I'll never say that.
Yeah, facts.
Right. But at the same way, I can't say Deuce won us the game either unless he's hitting. Like in the fourth quarter, he needs to be going in 0 points or 0 shots. Fourth quarter, he just goes like 9 for 12. I'll be like, be quiet. He won the game. He won the game. We won the game because of Deuce.
Ken, I'll let you go. I'm pretty sure we about to say the same thing, but I've seen Deuce do that in the fourth quarter before.
I've seen it too.
Right. I'm not saying
do that.
Right. But this is going back to what I said, the volume streaky shooter.
Yeah,
right, where it's like
I
can see him doing that, but it's a problem if we're relying on him to do that.
Yeah, the facts. That's facts. That's facts.
And that's my point. Where it's like you have a guy who this is the J.R. Smith, and what I said is like, it's like J.R. Smith, but he's a better defender, just not as tall, right? Where it's like, look, this guy can play, he can hoop, but he just has some of the worst shot selection in some games. And at some days, he just said, oh, yeah, I'm feeling like I can hit any crazy shot. No problem. Yeah, half court, let me just chuck it. I'll do a hook shot from there. I'll make it. And it's like that level of confidence. And that's a key thing also. This is one of the reasons why I like Deuce so much is that confidence in his jump shot, confidence in his drive, confidence in I'm going to the basket. My goal is to put this ball in that rim, and that's what I'm going to attempt to do with 100% effort. Okay. So, but again, major factor, the main guy on that for as far as a factor, no.
Ken, real quick.
No. I like so I will always say this, right? And when we are deep in these playoff series, those guys, right? Like those guys don't let's not ever minimize the factor they play, right? Because that streaky shooting from Deuce, we might need it one night, right? And as much as we were like, damn, he's streaky, he goes 0 points and then goes for that 12 that one night. That 12 that one night might not be the one that gets highlighted because of everybody else's stats. But me as the guy who's looking at it, I'm like, we need that, right? So there is going to be a night where we are lacking of energy from a Josh Hart or from a Mikal Bridges, right? And Deuce might have to come in and be a spark and pop some of those threes. And we're going to be dependent on that to be a little bit of an injection of life into the starters, right? Because the starters see that and say, okay, bet. Like, once I get back and we in it, right? So that's what he's there for. It's that defensive intensity and to be a spark, to inject a little bit of into the starters, into the team. And that's why, once again, I go back, we got a beautiful problem. Because we got options, right? And if one player is, let's say my guy, Jordan Clarkson, if he's having a terrible series this next series, he's gonna get less minutes, and Andrew Shaman, you're gonna see Deuce get more minutes, and maybe they step up in his stead, right? That's every series presents a different game of chess, different X's and O's, and we just got to go from there, right?
Yep. Just a quick 30-second thing, just to kind of give Deuce a little bit of credit here. A lot of the times when Deuce McBride is shooting a three, he's getting a grenade. So I've noticed that about Deuce McBride a lot, is that not all the time, but games like in the Hawks series where Mike Brown is benching Mikal Bridges because he's playing absolutely atrocious on the offensive end. It is actually Deuce McBride that he trusts to insert in that lineup to close out games. And there's a lot of times where I saw Jalen Brunson do it a lot last series, where there's 6 seconds left on the shot clock. The ball's already swung around. It gets back to Jalen Brunson. He's doubled, and Deuce McBride has to chuck up a three with 3 seconds left because he's pretty much the last touch before it's a shot clock violation. I think that's going to determine the Deuce McBride that when we get to your point, Gino, is that if he's able to hit that shot where you're not depending on him to initiate the offense, you're not depending on him to be the ball handler, but if Deuce McBride can be effective when he is getting those grenades, I do believe that's where we're going to see a huge difference with Miles McBride. And salute to everybody that's tuning in. Soft reset. Make sure you hit that like button. It helps the channel out a lot. That thumbs up button. Make sure you sound off in the comments as well. Let us know who you guys' most important player is and your X factor going into the series with the 76ers. 2 more quick points and then we got you guys out of here. Talked about the New York Knicks. Let's talk about the 76ers real quick. Is there anybody or anything when it comes to the 76ers that gives you a little bit concerned when it comes to their matchup with the New York Knicks? Is something that the New York Knicks need to be mindful of going into this series to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second time for 2 years in a row? Gino, let's go ahead and start with you.
I kind of touched on it before, playoff P. As much as we like to make fun of Paul George, he is Paul George. We were considering him like competition for LeBron for years. Considering competition, he's played with a lot of these great clutch players. We know he can't hit clutch shots in the playoffs, but he don't need to hit clutch shots if they're winning. You know what I mean? If they don't need to hit clutch shots in the third quarter, if they're smoothly flowing in transition, he can do a lot. He requires a lot of defense. You saying, "Oh, we can just leave him alone," you can't do that, right? So that changes a lot. And then of course, Joel Embiid, if he's healthy, we're going to have a very, very, very big problem with him. But the major factor and the most consistent factor for that team is Maxey. If we can get Maxey out of rhythm, we can win the game. The other two people are the major concerns. Maxey is the problem we need to solve. The other people we have to try to solve. Maxey we need to solve. It's everyone else is like, we could push him off the game, but Maxey's still going to put up his 20 points. That's a problem. He's still going to pass the ball off. That's a problem. He's still going to get those nice shots off. Still going to do a lot of shot creation. He's still going to draw a lot of defense. He's still going to give us foul problems, right? And he's healthy. He's consistent. So I think it's in that particular order. Paul George is the first problem. Well, sorry. Maxey's the main problem. Then Joel Embiid, then Paul George. Paul George requires people to guard him. We got to take Embiid out the game, and we have to stop Maxey.
Okay, great point by Gino Smith. Paul George currently averaging 17 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 48% from the floor, 55% from 3, and 77% from the free throw line in this year's playoffs. So great point by Gino for Paul George definitely being a focus for the New York Knicks in this series. Ken, what concerns you about the 76ers when it comes to this?
Gino highlighted it the most. It's Maxey. It starts and ends there, right, for me. How we contain Maxey or how Maxey goes off spells out how the rest of the team is going to play. I don't want people getting too lost in the sauce that, Embiid came back, 30 points and yada, 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 right? He's able to do that because his guards are playing up, right? Like they are playing up to another level, right? VJ didn't have a humongous series the first one, but he's still young. He has the moments to pop, right? Like he was having 17 plus, right, Gino?
Defensive block. I just want to say, if we're talking about offense, yes. Defensively, he stepped up and
exactly.
He earned his entire roster. He earned his next check. Got to be good. That's all I'm saying.
By the way, breakout game for him in Game 7.
Exactly.
VJ Edgecombe was a monster in Game 7.
So those things happen, right, because of Maxey, right? If Maxey's not playing and conducting that offense and that team the way he does, it doesn't make it easier for everybody else. Those are harder assignments for everybody else. Paul George is able to have these one-on-one matchups because Maxey is pulling in so much of that defense, right? And letting playoff P be playoff P in a one-on-one, right? This is still somebody that I worry about in a one-on-one matchup, right? Because he got the tools in the back,
Top
right?
20 player in the league with that.
So
ISO is crazy.
so that's what I mean. It starts and ends with Maxi, and it rolls from there, right? How and we saw we let somebody who is a lesser caliber player, right? Like not saying he's bad, but he's not Maxi. We let CJ McCollum go off for game two, game three, right? We saw the trouble it gave us, right? Then we reined them in. We can't let Maxi have those games. We have to be able to slow him down. And I know you might not agree, Gino, but Maxi is definitely a better player than CJ in many aspects.
No, no.
No,
I just want to say this, and this is CJ has far more playoff and veteran experience and playing at a higher caliber and being expected to put up 20 some odd plus a night from high shooting clips from beyond the arc with a team where it's you're the permanent second fiddle, even though you could be number one on any other team. Maxi doesn't have that type, never's been in that type of environment. He's been in an environment where it's as soon as you come here, we're going to slowly start shift. You're the next generation. This team is going to be yours. CJ McCollum was like, you're here to be the sidekick. You've always been here to be the sidekick. And when he went down to Atlanta, he went down there like, look, I know everyone wants me to be here to be the sidekick, but I can score if y'all really need me to. And when they needed him to, he did and did so well. I'll be real. I don't think Maxi is going to be able to do a lot of this stuff at right now in his career that CJ McCollum was able to do this last series, just because CJ has that veteran experience and understanding of the psyche and just the game of basketball in a more intimate and intricate way than TJ does at this time in his career.
Ken, I know you're about to go, but let me ask you a question when it comes to that though. Like, so when it comes to Tyrese Maxey, I understand his point when it comes to CJ McCollum is more battle tested basically in the playoffs than Tyrese Maxey. What about Tyrese Maxey makes him overcome Gino's point about, CJ has the playoff experience. We have seen CJ make big shots in the playoffs before. CJ McCollum has been to the Western Conference Finals. He has been in the highest levels of playoff competition before Tyrese Maxey has yet to get to that point. So what is it about Tyrese Maxey that makes him a more dangerous threat than CJ McCollum?
So, in my opinion, right, because this is all my opinion, right? As you watch Tyrese, yes, he doesn't have the years. Unfortunately, he didn't come in at the same time as CJ, right? He doesn't have the years that CJ has in the league, but he brings a level of maturity and an approach to the game of a seasoned vet like CJ, right? He looks like he's poised for it. He hasn't shown that he crumbles in these last minutes in the fourth quarters, right? He's ready for it. He's ready for the whenever the offense calls upon him, he answers that call. Big nights, through and through, consistent. This guy, the numbers are there to back it up, right? And once again, I think that just like you said, we've only ever looked at CJ as a sidekick. He's always been looked at as Robin. Ain't nobody bat an eye. Not one executive, not one player in the league said this is Batman. We know Tyrese is going to be Batman. Everyone in the league knows that, right? There's a reason it's shifting, right? They're building around him now. We ain't looking at him like a sidekick. The eye test says it. Analysts know it. Everybody knows it around the league. He's not Robin, right? And the series benefits from a healthy Embiid, but a Tyrese going ballistic offensively and not being slowed down makes it a trouble too. That's a bigger problem than a semi-healthy Embiid, right? So I think that's how he overcomes it. It's just he has that it factor. He's not the sidekick. He is the guy over there.
Gino, 30 seconds.
I definitely agree with a lot. I just don't think CJ McCollum is a lesser player than Maxey. I just can't. I couldn't let that go unchallenged. But I again, like me and Ken are very much locked in step on that. We both agree that Maxi is going to be the deciding factor for the 76ers. The offense has to facilitate him, and more importantly, they have to give him time to. If they want to win the series, they have to give him time to actually set into the offense and understand that the Knicks are going to try and run a fast break offense. They need to run a half break offense, half court offense. How do you deal with that and deal with defense in transition? And Maxi being good with setting up the offense is how you deal with that.
Okay, I'm gonna set this up to continue that conversation around Maxi because I agree. Maxi is my biggest concern when it comes to the 76ers. It's not Joel Embiid. Even if you want to throw Karl Anthony Towns in there, as long as Karl Anthony Towns is able to not fall for Joel Embiid's BS, I don't know how the refs are going to call that with Karl Anthony Towns. He has like a weird relationship with the refs as well. So I don't. It's going to be really interesting to see how the refs call this series with Karl Anthony Towns. But Karl Anthony Towns has looked amazing defensively, especially against the Atlanta Hawks. Now you can say that's because they don't have a true big man, and that's why he looked so dominant. But I think the key to that is that he's dealing with players with more speed, more athleticism that he was able to have great defense with. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the refs call the game with Karl Anthony Towns when it comes to Joel Embiid. So I do believe that you can kind of limit the series when it comes to Joel Embiid. Paul George got to deal with OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. So while they didn't have that matchup in Boston, Jaylen Brown was busy worrying about the guy we're worried about, and that's Tyrese Maxey. Paul George got the Shireman assignment. He got the Jason Tatum assignment. Obviously, Jason Tatum wasn't fully healthy going into the series. He got the Sam Hauser matchup. He got the Derek White matchup. So Paul George did kind of, I don't want to say skate by, but in my opinion, the New York Knicks match up better to be able to contain Paul George more than the Boston Celtics would. So he's not too much of a concern. And as far as I'm concerned, I hear what you say about how poor George has been in the playoffs, but I believe that's Indiana, Oklahoma City, Paul George. The playoff Paul George with the Clippers, it wasn't necessarily great. You know what I'm saying? Right. I have seen him fumble a lot in the playoffs. I'm not discrediting him, but that's just going to make my point. I'm just building it up to say this is why Maxey is so important. And the thing that concerns me, but this is more of a question for the New York Knicks, is that how I saw the Philadelphia 76ers play in the past couple of games when it came to them playing the Boston Celtics, is Joel Embiid kind of cooking for the first three quarters. Maxey's still finding his way. But in Game 7, it was Tyrese Maxey that closed the game out. That was the most aggressive going to the hole. So the thing that kind of counters that, in my opinion, when it comes to the New York Knicks is that the New York Knicks are the best fourth quarter defensive team in the league. So how do you contain Tyrese Maxey? So there's my question for both of you guys. When it comes to Tyrese Maxey, because we know Jalen Brunson's not going to be able to do it.
Okay, you read my mind. I was literally about to say.
Okay,
I was about to just say.
That's why. That's why.
The first thing you do is you put bridges on them. You put bridges on them.
All right. Go ahead. Who's the matchup for Tyrese Maxey?
Is Bridges. You gotta put Bridges on them, and whenever Brunson comes out the game, you get to put a real point guard on them and make him get a different look, and you just do it like that. And it's you just have to play like that because you have a guy who is gonna be faster, so you're gonna have to rotate. You're going to have to hope that you can put a certain level of pressure. But again, I don't like the VJ versus Brunson. That's going to be a bad matchup. That exposes Brunson on a different level. Yeah, so we might just have to tough it out and just run the switches on screens. As far as I don't want to give away a good game plan, but essentially, if you see that it's going to be a pick and drop, right, or a pick and pop, you fight over the screen. If it's going to be a pick and roll, you switch, and then you immediately push out, right? When you switch, you try You get Jalen Brunson. Hey, as soon as you get that roller, you pushing him far as way from the basket as possible to give us enough time to reset the defense. You gotta make sure that if he's cutting to the basket, he has to push you out the way to get to the basket, so we can get that foul. And you gotta be dramatic about it just because you're a smaller guy. You gotta make it where you gotta make Maxi play your heads up. You gotta make him beat you off the dribble and beat you off jump shots. And you gotta try. And the key thing is that if Brunson's gonna be the one guarding him for at least half of the series, right? As far as game minutes, you have to force him. And this sounds dumb. You have to force him into the Embiid side, and I want that body on body collision. Just let him bump into Embiid every chance. Embiid's while doing good rolls, he doesn't rotate properly. So they'll give him enough spacing to get some little bit of contact, hope to get a little bit of slowing down with Maxi.
Ken, let me ask you this question real quick. I know I'm gonna go a little bit off script here because usually I just let you,
Yeah.
answer what I first asked. But let's switch from Tyrese Maxey. We know he's dangerous, right? The matchup with Jalen Brunson, when it comes to defensively, right? Max, where do you hide Jalen Brunson in this series? Like, because in my opinion, I don't think he can guard Tyrese Maxey. I very questioned about him guarding VJ Edgecombe. I agree with Gino. That's a bad matchup for him.
Mm-hmm.
Paul George, a little bit too tall for him. I mean, I guess there's Kelly Oubre, depending on who they start at the 4. Where are you putting Jalen Brunson in this defensive game plan if you don't want him guarding Tyrese Maxey for the majority of the series?
So funny enough, I would test the rookie. That's that that's where I would go. I'd test the rookie. Just because Brunson is not a strong defender doesn't mean he doesn't have good defensive qualities.
Savvy.
He is savvy. Put him on the rookie because you will get a charge here and there. He'll get a charge. He'll get him into the spots that he knows he has defensive help. The rookie will fall for it. Let That's where I'm hiding Brunson against the inexperience. Is he talented? Is he an offensive threat when he's going? Yes, but he's a rookie, and JB's been here, right? So let him rock there. And I'm not even calling it hiding. Let JB's experience wear on VJ, right? Because VJ is gonna think, oh, this is a traffic cone. I got him, and JB's gonna bring him, right? Maybe one or two times he'll take him off the dribble. That third time he might slide, go for that charge. Might not get it the first time, but that next time, ref's not always gonna call a blocking foul. He's gonna give it a JB every once in a while, right? That's where it's gonna work. So I'm placing JB there. That's what. And right, like now that I've answered that, I'll roll now into how then that progresses defensively. That's why I'm putting JB, and then I'm rotating bodies on Maxi. Never one look. I don't want him getting comfortable. I don't want somebody as an offensive threat like Maxi, high IQ player as well, to get comfortable with the look he's getting. So it is rotating. We have athletic defenders for a reason. He's getting Josh Hart. He's getting Mikal. He's getting OG, getting guys off the bench. Shamit's shown to be a strong defender when he needs to be. Clarkson as well. Throwing bodies at him so he is consistently consistently seeing different looks. And I'm an old school believer in you want how to slow down an offensive player sometimes, right? Force him to play defense. I'm running a lot of sets, a lot of action sets on Maxi, because not only are we going to send bodies at you, we're going to force you into a lot of actions when we get back down on offense. So we're going to be working you get that ball out your hands because you're tired and you need a second. It's either you get off the court or the ball gets out your hands. So that's my because right that's a twofold, right? Like not just on the defensive, but what we're doing on the offensive end to slow you down when you come back down. We're attacking you. We're getting the cats. We're getting the OGs on them. I want pick rotations where OGs taking Maxi 1-on-1 because OG's shown that he has no problem fronting and backing down players and fronting them again and taking that step back shot. let OG wear him down too. So that's my game plan. If I was out there coaching, I had an input. That's how I'm slowing down Maxi.
Gino?
No, I definitely agree with that. Maxi definitely is probably the most biggest problem that the Knicks are gonna have to face, and it's you gotta make sure when you're doing like good pick and rolls, good screen defense. It's always you gotta see what's hitting for him, make your adjustments, rotate out, and of course, it's making sure that you're locked in on the other options. So this way, you're forcing him to you have to do it all, make him play hero ball. You know what I mean? You want to be the face of the franchise, rise. That's it. Like, and we got it's kind of like the Knicks have to approach this like kind of how the Spurs approached playing against LeBron when he was with Cleveland, which was, oh, we're not gonna stop LeBron. We can stop everybody else though. LeBron not gonna go for 60 tonight. He can go for 30. We won't. The rest of these guys are gonna go for 12.
Okay. All right. I agree with both points, man. I agree. I like Ken's assessment when it comes to throwing multiple bodies at him. I think Jalen Brunson had that type of series last series. Guys, Dyson McDaniels, guys, Nikhil Alexander Walker, Jalen Johnson. If they can implement that same type of game plan against Tyrese Maxey to have him facing multiple defenders to force him into playing hero ball because he's so frustrated that he can't necessarily get an open look because Mikel and OG are all over him when it comes to the pick and rolls and stuff like that, I can see it being a bad series for Tyrese Maxey. So great point by Ken. Now you guys see why I choose my co-host. Now you guys see the brilliance, the intelligence from these two when it comes to Knicks basketball is absolutely amazing. So make sure you guys hit that like button for my guys with their knowledge. 2 more points and then we're out of here. Let's go ahead and get the predictions. Got my guy. Let's see in the chat. My bad, I had a different pull up. My guy. J. Joe MGF. My bad getting for not getting to you sooner. Probably if you're still in here, make sure you hit that like button. Knicks in 6. He has the Knicks in 6. Only 12 more wins to go. Guys, this the moment. How many games?
Six. We got Knicks in 6. Knicks in 6 got that nice ring to it. I think 6 or less. I think if we go to game 6 and we don't have momentum and a closeout feel, that we have a problem. I think going into game 4, we should have that feeling. Like, all right, we're taking over the series. This is it.
Okay. So if we are, I'm sorry, if we are playing the way we closed out this Hawk series, Knicks in 5.
Okay. I got Knicks in 6. They don't make anything easy. I trust me. I see the game 5. Like I can see it. Like I can see how if the Knicks play the way they've been playing, I can see it. But on the other side of that, I gotta see it. Like it's like the great thing about the Knicks, and we'll get to this question in a second. Gino, you still got more time. I don't want to go over it. I know we've already been here for an hour 27. All right. So one more topic after this, but. The great thing about the New York Knicks so far this season, I got into it with a guy on TikTok or whatever. I forgot the comment on TikTok about the Knicks. And when I was talking about the Boston Celtics or whatever. And he said, yeah, well, the only thing about the Knicks is that they kind of get in their own way. And my counter to that was that, well, yeah, but usually they do that later in the playoffs. And this season, they kind of got that out the way early where they're getting into their own way and they didn't lose the series. They actually were more dominant. Not good, not winning games close, dominant when they turned that around and started playing true New York Knicks basketball. But we do know this team can be incredibly inconsistent. They just had, 3-4 days off at this point? Phillies seems to, depending on the health of Joel Embiid, of course, let's see what happens with Joel Embiid of how he is in the series. If Joel Embiid isn't healthy whatsoever and he can't move, it's Knicks in 5. Maybe Knicks in 4. To be perfectly honest with you, if Joel Embiid can't give them anything, I do believe it'll be a quick series for the New York Knicks. But if Joel Embiid is just a little bit healthy, I can't see the Knicks dropping 2 games in this series. So I will say Knicks in 6. But to a further point, and the main point, and StreamYard, make sure you clip this because this is what everybody's going to want to know. All right?
Yes.
New York Knicks, are they championship bound from everything that you've seen in the first round? Gino, you seem like you the most hype. Go ahead, get into the bag.
Yes. Of course, my Knicks are championship bound. I've been waiting for this for years. This is our time. It's our year. All the factors are flowing towards us. We have everything built up. The team is all there. Everybody is flowing well. We have the synergy. We have the coaching staff we want. We have the matchup advantages. We have positional advantage. The only thing we just need to do is make sure we win games. That's it. That's the only way you get to the championship. You just win the games. You know what I mean? It sounds weird. Is the Knicks have everything. We have everyone who's fully committed, everyone who's biting into their roles. We have a coach who believes in the players. The players have been asking for a coach to believe in them. They got it. Somebody who's willing to change the offense, make all these stuffs. So it's like, yo, how are we not doing this? The East is wide open. Our biggest threats are struggling to close out teams. We not. We got this. Knicks are going to the finals.
Ken,
Listen,
it's the moment. Let's get.
I 100% think that we are championship bound. I think that you got way too many people who are doing sound bites against us because the sound bites against the negative sound bites against the Knicks gets views, gets clicks, because we're that type of fan base. We're clicking in. Oh, you want to talk crap? We're gonna click in and we're gonna comment, right? And we're talking about you, Colin Cowherd, right? Like he just talked about we're not built for this. I don't know what he's watching. This guy is tuning in for like 10 seconds of a quarter, maybe. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. We are built for this. We are built for the adversity that is needed for a championship title, right? Because you never get a straight path. There is no straight path to the championship, no straight path to hoisting it up. You got to be ready for some adversity, and this team is built for that. We are ready. Everybody from top to bottom. The coach, he knows what's up. He knows what he got let go bad. Came over to one of the most the franchises that is the toughest to coach. Came over here, knew what was up. It was championship or bust. He knew he not a come in and build. It is come in and produce or you out. Right? We're championship bound. I truly believe it. This team is truly built. We were constructed previous seasons to fight the East, right? The battle out of the East. We are now prepared to fight with the West and win it. That's the difference. Or we were just built and tested and prepared to try and make it out of the East. No, here this team is ready. It's ready to go 7-game series with whoever comes out the West, whether it's the Spurs, OKC, whoever wanted to be. That 7-game series, we're ready for it.
I agree. Uh, New York Knicks have been really inconsistent over the course of the season, but the thing about this Knicks team is that when they actually give a damn about playing basketball, they look like the best team in the league. It's that clear. They have the size, they have the depth, they have the athleticism, they have the scoring, they have the big man who can stretch the floor. Everything that you're looking for. They have the rim protector, they have the scorer, they have the wings. They literally have everything that you can ask for when it comes to building a championship team. They have the defense. They're ranked top 10 in defense and offense. We've had 7 different champions in the past 7 years. Oklahoma City, Jalen Williams looks like he's hurt. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to the Eastern Conference, if you're looking at the Eastern Conference, there's no way you couldn't look at the Eastern Conference and feel like the basketball gods aren't shining their light for the first time on the New York Knicks in a long time. You have the Celtics getting eliminated early. You have the 76ers, even though they did eliminate the Celtics. It looks like they're going into that series banged up. Paul George is also a question mark if he can last through that whole series. He's known to get injured. You have the Detroit Pistons who struggled with the Orlando Magic for 7 games. Who knows if they're going to be worn down at this point? Cade Cunningham had that lung issue. Who knows what the next series is going to look like? And if with the way Detroit has played, can they get past the Cavs? Can they get past the Raptors? It's a huge question mark after what we've seen from them having issues with the Orlando Magic, even though the Orlando Magic are a talented roster. We saw the Orlando Magic looked over the course of the season. It's totally fair to not believe that they turned on some sort of miraculous switch or were this dominant team that the Detroit Pistons had to face. We see their lack of scoring and lack of help that Cade Cunningham has. So if the New York Knicks are able to key on Tyrese Maxey, they should be able to key in on Cade Cunningham because Tyrese Maxey has more weapons to help him. So if they could solve this Philly issue, there should be no reason why they can't solve the Detroit issue. So when it comes to the Eastern Conference, it's wide open for the New York Knicks to get to the NBA Finals. The New York Knicks, all they have to do is get it done. That's it. Just get it done. And I do believe that the New York Knicks are championship bound. But that's going to be it for us, man. We've been on here for an hour and 30, unless anybody got anything to say before we close this out. All right, well, go ahead. If you guys have been tuning in, we appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you leave Let's Go Knicks in the comments. Let us know that you watched to the end. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon for notifications on episodes like this. And we appreciate you guys because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. See you guys next Sunday. Peace.
Blackout!